If you're a diehard Browns fan and love breaking down the game like we do, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss a blitz. Put another tick in the loss column for the Cleveland Browns. And you could almost feel it, that collective exhale from every corner of the Dawg Pound. Another Sunday that ended with the familiar sting of what could have been. The Browns dropped their fourth game of the season, and this one came under the bright lights of Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in London, a showcase game that was supposed to bring pride to Cleveland fans around the world. Instead, it ended in heartbreak, as the Minnesota Vikings came from behind in the final moments to seal the deal. The Browns led for most of the game. They fought tooth and nail on both sides of the ball, and yet, when the final whistle blew, it was another chapter in a story the franchise and its fans know all too well. A story of missed chances, penalties, and frustration boiling beneath the surface. But Myles Garrett, the face of the defense, the emotional compass of this locker room, wasn't about to let despair define this team's next step. Always confident that you can bring it back, Garrett told reporters after the game, his tone calm but direct, the kind of voice that cuts through the noise of disappointment. You don't look too far ahead or look behind you. You just have to look at the next opponent and figure out how you can win that one. That's classic Garrett, steady, measured, refusing to let the moment swallow him whole. He's been here before. He's seen highs and lows in a Browns uniform, from playoff pushes to seasons that went sideways before Halloween. What makes him special isn't just his talent, but that unflinching mindset. And after this 27-23 loss to the Vikings, it's clear Cleveland will need every ounce of that leadership to turn the tide. The Browns actually looked sharp through much of the first half. Rookie quarterback Dillon Gabriel, making his first NFL start, played with a poise that belied his inexperience. This wasn't an easy environment. International crowd, loud atmosphere, the pressure of replacing a veteran starter, but Gabriel delivered a steady performance. He completed 19 of 33 passes for 190 yards and 2 touchdowns. It wasn't flashy, but it was efficient, controlled, and enough to keep the Browns in the driver's seat until things unraveled late. Garrett, ever the professional, praised the young signal caller after the game. He looked like he usually does, Garrett said. Composed, making the plays that we know he can make. He put us in position to win. We have to help ourselves out. That, we says everything about how Garrett sees his role, not separate from the offense, not detached as just a defensive leader, but part of the full machine that needs to start clicking in unison. And clicking is something the Browns' offense just couldn't sustain when it mattered most. Time and again, drives stalled. Time and again, penalties derailed momentum. They finished the day converting only 3 of 15 third downs, an abysmal 20% that makes it nearly impossible to beat anyone in this league. Punting 8 times is not a recipe for success, no matter how good your defense is. Even the best defensive units eventually wear down if they're constantly being sent back on the field. And while Gabriel showed flashes, the offensive rhythm wasn't there, partly due to play calling, partly due to execution. The biggest dagger came in the fourth quarter, when a holding call wiped out a spectacular long touchdown run from Quinton Judkins that would have given Cleveland a crucial cushion. Instead, they were backed up, the drive sputtered, and the Vikings seized the opening. Judkins, to his credit, was one of the few bright spots. The rookie running back carried 23 times for 110 yards, showing burst, vision, and patience beyond his years. He's got that old-school style, low center of gravity, always churning his legs, falling forward for extra yards. Watching him run behind this offensive line felt like a glimpse of what could be if the Browns can clean up their mistakes. But for all his effort, Cleveland's lack of red zone efficiency reared its head again. Too many field goals, not enough touchdowns. It's a familiar theme, one that's haunted this team not just this season, but for years. Meanwhile, the defense, the heart and soul of this Browns roster, kept doing its job for most of the afternoon. Myles Garrett, as always, was a nightmare for the opposing offense. He recorded several pressures, added to his season totals of 21 tackles, 8 tackles for loss, and 8 quarterback hits through just 5 games, and even made what should have been a game-changing play late in the third quarter. On a crucial 3rd and long, Carson Wentz tried to roll out and use his legs to move the chains, but Garrett wasn't having it. The 6-time Pro Bowler chased him down, wrapped him up, and forced the Vikings to punt. Plays like that are why he's not just the face of the defense, but the cornerstone of this entire franchise. But football is a team sport, and when one side can't close the deal, even brilliance on defense can't save you. The Vikings, led by a resurgent Carson Wentz, capitalized in crunch time. Late in the fourth, down by less than a field goal, they orchestrated a beautiful 10-play, 80-yard drive that chewed up nearly 3 minutes of clock and ended with a 12-yard touchdown strike. It was clinical, methodical, the kind of drive you see from teams that know how to finish. The Browns' defense, so stout for most of the day, suddenly looked human. A couple of missed tackles, a few soft zones, and just like that, the game slipped away. After the final whistle, you could sense the frustration, but also a strange calm. Garrett's post-game comments weren't about blame or anger. They were about responsibility. Just gotta close it out, he said simply. Frustration doesn't matter, results do. That line says everything about the culture he's trying to build in Cleveland. Accountability over excuses. In a locker room filled with young talent and unfulfilled potential, that voice matters. Garrett isn't pointing fingers at the offense or the coaching staff. He's including himself in the collective we. That's leadership. And for a team that's now 1-4 on the season, it's the kind of leadership that can keep hope alive even when the record says otherwise. The silver lining here is that the Browns aren't being blown out. Every loss this season has been close. One possession here, a turnover there. They're competing, they're hanging in games, but the margins for error in the NFL are razor thin. A single penalty can change momentum. A dropped pass can swing the outcome. And those little things are killing Cleveland right now. You look at this roster: Garrett, Judkins, Denzel Ward, Amari Cooper, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, and you see talent everywhere. The problem isn't potential, it's execution. The coaching staff knows it, the players know it, and Garrett knows it most of all. What happens next could define the Browns' season. They head to Pittsburgh next week for a road game against the Steelers, a rivalry that always carries weight, no matter the records. The game kicks off at 1 p.m. on October 12th, and you can bet the energy inside Acrisure Stadium will be electric. Gabriel will get his second start, and all eyes will be on how he responds to adversity. If he can build on his debut, limit mistakes, and develop better chemistry with his receivers, Cleveland's offense might finally find its rhythm. The coaching staff will likely focus on simplifying the game plan, emphasizing ball control and reducing penalties. Because against a divisional opponent like Pittsburgh, mistakes get magnified. For Garrett, though, this upcoming week is about setting the tone. He's the anchor, the veteran who's been through the storm and come out stronger. He knows what it takes to win in this league, and he knows that sometimes the difference between victory and defeat isn't talent, it's discipline. You can see it in the way he talks, the way he carries himself. He's not giving up on this team, not even close. You just have to look at the next opponent, he said, and that mindset is what Cleveland fans should hang on to right now. The season's still young, the schedule still offers opportunity, and if the Browns can tighten the screws, there's still time to turn things around. But make no mistake, the clock is ticking. In a division as tough as the AFC North, falling too far behind means climbing a mountain just to get back into contention. Every snap, every drive, every defensive stand will matter from here on out. And if there's one guy who can drag this team back into relevance through sheer willpower, it's Myles Garrett. He's more than just a pass rusher. He's a tone setter, a leader, a reminder that the Browns can still control their destiny if they choose to. The road to redemption starts with accountability, and Garrett is already paving it, one quote, one tackle, one example at a time. So as the Browns board their flight back to Cleveland, heads hanging but hearts still beating, the message is simple. Don't look too far ahead. Don't dwell on what's behind. Just focus on the next game. Because that's the only way to change the story. And if Myles Garrett has anything to say about it, the next chapter might finally bring the kind of ending Browns fans have been waiting for. Enjoying the content so far? Smash that like button and drop your take in the comments. We want to hear what you think about the Browns this season. All right, hold on to your helmets, because what I'm about to tell you has shaken the entire NFL landscape. And trust me, this one is sending shockwaves through every locker room, every analyst desk, and every fan base that's been watching the quarterback carousel spin wildly over the past few seasons. The Cleveland Browns, yes, those same Browns who've spent decades trying to find the guy under center, have finally made it official. Jordan Love is their new starting quarterback. Yeah, you heard that right. Jordan freaking Love, the man who was supposed to be Green Bay's next Aaron Rodgers, is packing up his cheesehead legacy and heading straight to the Dawg Pound. And let me tell you, nobody saw this coming quite like this. For weeks, the rumor mill had been churning with whispers about the Browns making a major move, something bold, something that could redefine their entire offensive identity. But most insiders were thinking maybe a mid-level veteran, a short-term patch, or perhaps some draft day shakeup in the future. Nobody, and I mean nobody, thought it would be Jordan Love. After all, Green Bay had spent years grooming him, standing by him through early struggles, and finally watching him blossom into a legitimate starting caliber QB. The Packers front office had publicly backed him as the future, but apparently, something cracked behind closed doors. Whether it was about money, long-term vision, or maybe just the right offer from Cleveland, we don't know yet, but one thing's for sure. The Browns didn't hesitate to pounce the moment the opportunity appeared. Now let's unpack why this move feels like such a thunderbolt. For the Browns, the quarterback position has been this endless saga, from Baker Mayfield to Deshaun Watson, from Johnny Manziel's chaos to the long list of stopgaps and forgotten names. Cleveland has been searching for consistency, leadership, and someone who could actually handle the immense pressure of playing in a city that's both desperate and passionate in equal measure. The Watson experiment, let's be honest, never really took off the way the front office dreamed. Between injuries, off-field controversies, and inconsistent performances, the Browns were running out of patience. And apparently, they decided it was time to flip the script entirely. Enter Jordan Love, young, talented, mature, and ready to lead a team that's been starving for a real identity. From Green Bay's perspective, this decision almost feels like déjà vu. You think back to the day Aaron Rodgers left town. It was sudden, it was emotional, and it changed everything. Now, just a short time later, the Packers are waving goodbye to another potential franchise quarterback. That's what makes this move so fascinating. Are the Packers giving up too soon? Did they see something behind the scenes that made them hesitate? Or maybe, just maybe, they realized they could cash in on Love's rising value while his stock was at its highest. Whatever the reasoning, it's Cleveland that's walking away from this deal looking like they just stole the future. And let's talk about what this means for the Browns offense. Picture it, Jordan Love throwing deep balls to Amari Cooper, working the short game with David Njoku, and handing off to Nick Chubb when the ground game needs to grind out those tough yards. That's a dangerous trio right there. Love has shown he can improvise, he can extend plays, and he can sling the rock with confidence. The Browns' offensive coordinator now has the kind of dual-threat flexibility that could completely change how defenses line up against them. And let's not forget about that Cleveland defense. Myles Garrett and company have been carrying this team for years, waiting for the offense to finally match their intensity. If Love can bring even 80% of what he showed in Green Bay last season, the Browns could be staring at their most balanced roster in decades. But there's another layer here, the narrative. Jordan Love going from the next man up in the Packers' sacred quarterback lineage to becoming the savior of the long-suffering Browns is poetic in its own way. It's a redemption arc, a story of transformation. Green Bay fans might feel betrayed, heartbroken, or even blindsided. But Love now has a chance to carve out his own legacy, free from the constant comparisons to Rodgers or Favre. In Cleveland, he's not stepping into someone else's shadow. He's creating his own. And let's be real, Browns fans are some of the most loyal, passionate, and tortured fans in all of football. They're hungry for someone to believe in. They're ready to anoint a new hero. And if Love can deliver even a fraction of hope, he'll be a legend in that city before the snow even starts falling off Lake Erie. Still, not everyone's buying the hype just yet. Some analysts are calling this move risky, pointing out that Love has only one full season as a starter under his belt. Sure, he flashed brilliance, but he also had stretches of inconsistency. They're questioning whether he's truly ready to carry a franchise like Cleveland, a team with sky-high expectations and zero patience for rebuilding. But that's what makes this move so thrilling. The Browns are betting big, not just on talent, but on potential, leadership, and the belief that Jordan Love's best football is still ahead of him. It's a gamble, no doubt. But sometimes, the biggest payoffs come from the boldest risks. Behind the scenes, sources close to the organization have hinted that this move had been brewing for weeks, possibly months. The Browns front office reportedly reached out quietly after noticing some friction between Love's camp and Green Bay's management. There were whispers about contract talks stalling, and a growing sense that Love wanted a franchise to call fully his own, not one constantly living in the echoes of Lambeau Field legends. Cleveland, sensing opportunity, moved quickly. And now, here we are, a blockbuster announcement that has the entire league buzzing. Social media exploded the moment the news broke. Browns fans flooding timelines with disbelief, excitement, and cautious optimism. Packers fans reacting with a mix of outrage and sadness, posting highlight reels of Love's best throws and asking, how could they let him go? NFL insiders scrambling to confirm details, and even rival players chiming in, congratulating Love and teasing what's next. It's the kind of story that instantly dominates sports talk shows, fuels endless debate segments, and sparks predictions about whether this is finally the year the Browns make a real Super Bowl push. And let's not ignore the emotional side of this. Jordan Love's journey has always been about patience and perseverance. Drafted to replace a legend, sitting for years, enduring criticism, and finally proving he belonged. Only to now start a brand new chapter in one of the league's most unpredictable franchises. That takes guts. It takes resilience. And it takes a belief in yourself that doesn't waver no matter how loud the noise gets. Love has that in spades. That's what makes this story resonate so deeply. It's about transformation, about breaking free from expectations, about taking control of your destiny. For Cleveland, this is more than a roster move. It's a statement. It's a declaration that the Browns are done waiting, done experimenting, done playing it safe. They want to win, and they want to win now. Bringing in Jordan Love signals a new era, one where the offense can finally complement the defense, one where the city can rally behind a fresh face who embodies hope, hunger, and humility. You can already feel the buzz building. The jerseys are about to fly off the shelves, the media day questions are going to be relentless, and the energy at First Energy Stadium this fall, it's going to be electric. Of course, the real test begins on the field. Can Jordan Love adapt quickly to a new system, new teammates, and a fanbase that demands results? Can he stay healthy, keep his composure, and deliver in clutch moments when the pressure's at its peak? Those are questions only time can answer. But for now, this is the move everyone's talking about, the one that might just reshape the balance of power in the AFC. Because if Love clicks in Cleveland, if he finds his rhythm early, then the Browns could suddenly become that dark horse team nobody wants to face in December. Thanks for riding with us on another Browns Blitz. If you liked the video, share it with a fellow fan, hit subscribe, and ring that bell so you're always part of the Dawg Pound conversation. Go Browns!